I'm here with Donya Morgan Douglas, and Donya is from California, and she is a successful real estate agent and real estate investor. And I really wanted to interview her today because I know how important it is as entrepreneurs to make sure that we keep on growing through the process. And there is this saying that, the dream is free, but the hustle is what costs. And so in this time during our marketing moment, we just wanted to spend time with Donya and hear a little bit about her story and how she became successful in her career and as an entrepreneur and what it really took to get to this point. So Donya, thank you for joining us.
Thank you
We're
for
so
having
happy to have you.
me. I am.
Yes,
I'm excited to be here.
I know. Well, I just want you to share with everyone just a little bit about your background, how you got into the industry that you're in, and what it's taken to really go after your dreams and make them a reality.
Okay, well, a little bit about my background is I went to college. I was studying fashion design, and I got a job working for a big box retailer and things like that, and I became an operations manager. And during that time, I had gone to a seminar, and it was a guy, he wrote a book called Buy and Hold Real Estate. And his name was David Schumacher. He's since passed away, but the whole premise of his philosophy was you're gonna buy property and then hold on to it and then sell it after the 30 years or whatever, and then you can retire wealthy, that kind of a thing.
That's
so
amazing.
so that's kind of how I started out, and it gave me the real estate bug, but I always had another job. I always had another job, and so I started along that path, and then as I was going along that path, I got married, and then I got my husband involved in it. I started him, giving him CDs and things like that when CDs were popular, and so that was our whole thing, and we just started buying rental properties. Okay. And what happened was that I wanted to change because the buying rental properties was kind of like a slow process, because if you own property, you could be positive cash flow $100, $200, $300 a month, but that's not enough to I wanted to quit my job.
Wow.
Right? So that wasn't enough income because we had 6 properties.
Goals. Quit your job. A lot of you have goals out there to quit your full-time job.
Right, exactly. And so I thought it was going to be so simple. I was like, okay, these properties are cash flowing even a little bit, so it'll be okay. And then, so I told my husband I wanted to quit my job. And he was like, what do you mean? Like, he was like, no, we live in California, it's expensive, you have to work, we both have to work, this is not my idea of how I want to live my life. And so it really caused a little bit of a rift in our marriage. And so what ended up happening was we met with our counselor. And to this day, we still go to counseling one time a year just to check in and stuff.
I love that.
And so we met with our counselor, and then he was like, well, who came up with this plan about buying rental properties and all of that? And I was like, I did. And so he was like, well, you can't just quit your job without a plan. And you changed the plan because you and your husband were in agreement. You got him involved in real estate, and you said, okay, honey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to buy rental properties, we're going to hold them, and then we're going to sell them at the end, and then, when the mortgage is paid off, and then we're going to be free and clear and live happily ever after, right? So then in the midst of that, 6 years into that, I wanted to quit my job.
Yeah, you were ready.
Yeah, and I wanted to go full time. But so my counselor talked some sense into me, and he said, "You need a plan."
That's good.
So that's kind of what happened. And so, in doing the plan, it was like, okay, you guys need to pay off your credit cards. What would make us as a couple and our family? What is the plan we need to come up with so Donya can quit her job? And so that she can be the entrepreneur that she wants to be.
Yeah, so I really feel like that key number one is to make a plan.
Yeah, exactly.
And really get your family involved in that plan.
Right,
that's huge.
because I was thinking like, I'm going to quit my job and do all this, but I didn't really check with my husband, right? I was just thinking this should be enough money, and I was just going along, right? Because actually I was really miserable at my job. So I just thought because I was miserable, my husband's gonna be like, okay, yeah, babe, just quit your job. And he was like, no.
No, you're not doing that.
Yeah,
Not yet,
yeah,
not yet.
yeah. And so I would also say like just seeking counsel and advice.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Because even though we were going to the counselor, my counselor was an entrepreneur also. So he really knew what it was gonna take, and he really gave us good wisdom about like, okay, you guys, maybe she can quit her job, but you need to come up with a different plan.
That's right.
You know.
So that key too would really be, seek out a mentor, seek out somebody that can counsel you in that area, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, that understands, the ins and outs of the struggles and the things that you're going through. So that's awesome that you had somebody to support you in that area.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
huge. Okay.
And so then my husband and I, we came up with a new plan, which was going, and actually, honestly, once we came up with that new plan and we started, it took me 5 years.
Wow.
It took me 5 years before I really could do it, because we paid off credit cards, we refinanced our house, we took $800 a month off of our mortgage.
Wow.
And
so you were
it was,
working the
yeah,
plan.
we were working the plan. And then also too, my husband really, together we had to change our thinking. Like I was there, but my husband wasn't. He had a different idea of how we were going to, what we were going to do. It never occurred to him that I would just not quit my job, because when he met me, I'm just a go-getter, and you know what I mean? Like I want to work. Like we don't have any small children anymore, and so he knew I wanted to work. So it just didn't it didn't mesh right to him to be like, okay, now you want to quit your job, and then what are you gonna do? And I was like, I'm gonna do real estate full time. Like I don't want to just stay at home.
That's right.
And so it took 5 years, and then we made a date. So we made a date. We were like, okay, January 1st, we're gonna quit. She's gonna quit, right? And so, and then.
Let's stay there for just a second, because I felt like there was those next two key points. Key 3, I really feel was like change your thinking.
Yes.
So you can't think in this space the way that you were thinking before.
Right.
It's like you had to shift your thinking because of what was about to come.
Right.
And then the next thing was be aware of your time frame.
Right.
It will take time.
Right. And believe me, I had no idea that it was going to take 5 years.
Yeah.
Like I just thought, I thought, oh, a year tops, like, because we didn't,
A year.
our credit cards weren't that high.
How many of us said that?
You know what I mean? And like, what's that saying? You underestimate what you can do in a year, but you overestimate what you can get done in a year, but you underestimate what you can get done in 5 years. And so I feel like that's kind of where I was.
That's good.
And but really, what put me over the edge was then my mom passed away. So when my mom passed away, it just caused me to just rethink everything.
Wow. Like in what way?
Just like because I felt like in a way I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I was kind of complacent. I was like, okay, we have the plan. I'm gonna pay this off. We're doing this. We had already paid everything off, and I was still like, okay, we're just gonna save money and keep saving, and you know what I mean. But when my mom passed away, it was kind of like it shocked me. Like, Donya, what are you doing with your life? Like, are you fulfilling your passion? Are you really going after what you want to go after?
Yeah, that's huge.
And actually, I think up until that point, I really didn't have the like really sincere confidence, like to really like go for it. Like I said it, but then when my mom passed away, came more of a reality. Like, look,
there was a shift.
Like, what are you doing? Are you fulfilling your purpose? Are you really going after the desires of your heart? And so, and then that was a different conversation with my husband, because I was like, you know what? It's time. Yeah. I'm over it. Like, I'm not going to be one of those people that looks back.
That's good.
You know,
yeah.
So
it was like, I really feel like that key 5 is that, life is short.
Yeah.
Life is too short, to stay stagnant. And, that's real reality, I've lost, someone, close to me. You lost your mom.
Right.
And it really does bring things, I think, in perspective for us, as women entrepreneurs that,
Right.
What am I doing? Am I really, moving forward with, I dared to dream.
Right,
But
right.
what am I doing to
Right,
fulfill
but
that
am I
dream?
complacent
Yeah.
in my daring to dream? Right,
Yeah,
like
and
even
we do that a lot.
even that, because my job was paying for everything and more, so I was like really comfortable, and so then, but having my husband's support, and then I think once my mom passed away, it just re-energized me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
love
And it refocused me.
Yeah.
And then my husband could see the passion again, and like, okay,
That's
it's gonna make it happen.
Yes.
And
I
then that's
love
what
that.
happened.
I love that because you talk about refocus, which I think is important because as an entrepreneur itself, you have those times where you go up
Yep,
and then
yep.
you get down into the valley,
Yep.
then you rise up and you get down. And you have to know that when you're in those valleys, how to refocus
Exactly.
or how to recharge or re-energize
Exactly.
to get up that hill and just go for it again. So I
Exactly.
think that's so powerful
Yeah.
that, you use that word refocus, as sometimes we need to do that.
Right.
In this span, in this area of entrepreneurship. So,
Exactly.
yeah, that's
exactly.
really good.
Exactly. And so, and actually it's kind of funny because even we made the deadline for January 1st, and then my husband was like, no, maybe wait another couple months. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, honey. I was like, dang it. Like really?
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And so then a couple more months went by, and then finally it was like June. It was like June 1st, and I said, on July 8th, I looked at the calendar and I was like, on July 8th, that's it, babe. We don't have any more excuses.
Yeah, it's time to step out.
Yeah.
Because that really is a step of faith. When you move, that really is a step of faith. When you move from, hey, I've had this security
Right.
net, and I made a plan, and I can't make any more excuses.
Yeah, exactly,
And I have to step
exactly.
out. That really
Exactly.
is, that's a huge step of faith that you've been able to do that. And so how long now have you
Been
in
full
that position?
time and
full-time?
all of that. It's been 3 years.
3 years. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
3 years. So,
Congratulations.
I know, I'm so excited, and everything's
That's
going really
huge.
well, and
Yeah.
I really think it's because for me, I needed a plan, and for where my husband and I were at, we needed a plan. Like, I think some people, they can go for it, and if they don't have expenses and mortgages and things like that, they can go for it, and they can start maybe faster. But because I had already had one plan and had to change to something different,
Yeah.
it took a little bit longer,
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
I love
So,
it.
yeah.
Well, one entrepreneur to another. We are so enthusiastic, to see how, you succeeded in what you do. And we know that there's even more coming.
Definitely,
Great things
definitely,
coming your way.
definitely.
And so I just want to ask everybody to continue to tune in to our marketing moment here with Divine Marketing Group. And I'm Cindy Nanez. Thank you for tuning in.